the ripples as they roll. I will walk alone by the black river, sing me a song of my own. Black muddy river,
What up? What up? It's your boy Conserviz 34.
Hold on,
Oh, we about to get lit tonight.
it's for great man. Gonna
Could be talking some DMB,
this rain.
some Dead and Company,
Always
some Fish. All right. So tonight we're gonna start off with Dead and Company. I just played Black Muddy River from a show I saw at the Xfinity Theater in 2018. Been to my at this point, I'm not at 10 Dead and Company shows yet. Let's see, I think I'm at like 6 or 7. I've lost count. I have a record of it somewhere. But this is going to actually transition this Dead and Company topic. We're going to transfer into Dave Matthews and Tim Reynolds. How this announcement from Dead and Company may impact that, and then we will also get into a new band, a band I'm just getting into and fully committing to. I've tried this in the years past, but 2021 was the year I finally understood Fish and I'm finally loving what they're doing. But let's start off with this Dead in Company. They're offering refunds to their fans that don't want to go to the Mexico shows because they're worried about everything COVID related. And this is something that I had been hearing about through the various Grateful Dead forums that I'm a part of. Shout out to some of the awesome groups I'm a part of on various social media sites where I get the ear of the Deadhead. And this was a group of people I kind of prejudged as a younger concert goer, but I love the music. I love their fans. I was talking to them at various shows, Phil and Friends and Dead and Co. Hopefully, we'll go to some Joe Russo Almost Dead shows, aka J Rad. They are coming here to Connecticut, so we'll see. But the main thing here, Den and Company, they're offering refunds to their Mexico shows amid rising COVID-19 cases. You have until this Friday, and this Friday is going to be December 31st, 2021, 5 p.m. Eastern. If you are a purchaser of the Dead and Company Playing in the Sands, they call it PITS, is the abbreviation the fans reference it as. If you have tickets and you want a refund, you got to opt for that refund. Um, by 5 p.m. this Friday. Now, the article here, there's one on Billboard. There's also one on for Rolling Stones. But the one for Rolling Stones, it starts off talking about a fan, Bob Kleinman. He's 68. And that's the key here. You have a lot of deadheads who are in their 60s, some are in their 70s, and others are in their 50s that were watching the tail end of this band's runs in the 80s and in the early 90s. And you have some fans that are in their 40s that saw Jerry and the original Grateful Dead lineup right at the end from 89 to 95. So Bob is 68. He was looking forward to a getaway, being a diehard Deadhead, by kicking off the new year with 3 nights of Dead and Company with concerts in Cancun, Mexico. They're playing in the Sand residency. It's gonna run from January 7th to the 10th. As of right now, the show is going to go on for weekend 1, and then weekend 2, because there was so much popularity, they added a second weekend. So they also have it 13th through the 16th. Now, like Dave and Tim, historically this has been a 1 weekend event. But with the pandemic, there was so much more of a higher demand for Dead and Company because you're getting the full band. Yes, it's not the original Dead formation. No, Phil Lesh is not part of this. Yes, their tempos can be slower, but they still, this is the most popular Grateful Dead related band that there is. They're selling out certain stadiums and amphitheaters. So, people were excited, and a lot of people that are going to these shows, their kids are out of the house for the most part. There are some younger Deadheads like me in their 30s, and some even in their 20s. Some of them are teenagers that their grandfather or father loved the Dead, but most of this fan base, they have some extra income to spend. Not all of them, but there is a good percentage of those who save for retirement, who have pensions. So these things sold out. But what this shows is, this Bob, gets his in April. He takes care of his vaccination, and the world's finally turning around. But by December, when the extremely transmissible Omicron variant started to surge, he wanted to pull out. To the point, this is the most important thing, right? But when he sought for a refund for the nearly $15,000 package, these are not cheap packages, folks, he bought for his family, he was told no dice. Even after 5 calls, show organizer CID Presents told him packages were non refundable and the show would go on. And Bob has been through chemotherapy for lymphoma, and he didn't want to risk his health. And there are many people in his age bracket, whether they've gone through a terminal, fighting a terminal disease or a serious health scare or not, they're worried about their wellness because they are older. People in their age bracket are getting COVID, and they're seeing some of their peers pass away at higher volumes. And some people my age in their 30s, some people in their 40s are not. I'm not seeing as many as they are. Um, here's what's crazy. He was not alone. He's one of the 1,000 COVID fearing deadheads who pushed event planners for a means to opt out of the show. So they have been pushing. There was a petition, more than 2,100 people signed in recent days calling for the show organizers to issue refunds. Fans also set up several pages on Facebook about the shows to argue about the safety concerns. Finally, the push from Deadheads on Wednesday, the band and CID announced that anyone can now get a refund, although shows are slated to continue. As case counts rise, they're recommending that guests not leave the resort, and all events that CID planned offsite have been canceled. There's excursions you could purchase with the different packages. Everything has been canceled off of the actual resorts that you can get hotels in. Any package holder no longer interested in attending playing in the Sands for either weekend are now eligible for a refund by submitting your refund request by 5 p.m. on December 31st, 2021. This is really what gets even further interested. Obviously, anyone who can go to these packages now, the 15,000 that Bob has, those are a couple people, right? But it could be anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000 to more plus to get into this event. You're at least spending $2,000 to $3,000 just on the actual to get into the event, all inclusive. That doesn't count the flight. But there were people. So several fans spoke with Rolling Stone before the announcement was made, had already decided to skip the event, even without the promise of refunds. So people were going to eat 2, 3, 4,000 minimum just for the package, not the flight. You could probably get a credit for the flight, but people were willing to lose it $3, 4, 5, $6,000. And not everyone who goes to these events has that disposable income. Some of these people literally are saving pennies and dimes for one last trip because life is short, right? But obviously you got to have at least some money in the bank, right, to even qualify to go. But still, it's 6,000 people per weekend, right? 12,000 total attendees that you're going to get between those 2 weekends. So these are not cheap, but they sold 12,000, packages. And really that's a lot of It's a lot of cash for the promoters. And like the all, let's just say, right? So we're gonna do a little math. You have 12,000. Let's just say the average package is $4,000, right? 12,000 people times 4,000, that's $48 million. That's a lot of money. That's why they want to play in the sand. They're like, nah, we ain't canceling this thing. We are playing in the sand. That's 48 mil divided by two. That's 24 million per weekend. I'm just saying 4,000. Now, again, that's for the hotel, that's for all inclusive, but it is part of it's for the concert. So that's $48 million going into the local, between the promoters, the hotels, everyone who works at these hotels. Hello, Amy. Amy, thank you so much for joining. Nice to have you on again. Thank you for supporting. But that's a lot of money on the table. And that's why they're like, look, the show is going to go on. And there also were flight concerns because there's thousands of flight cancellations over this last week for the holiday season. So who knows what flights may get canceled and can you get to the hotel on time? The other thing that is interesting is you have to, as I said last week, you can't just get in with a vaccination. You could have 50 boosters, right? You could have someone give you the vaccine, on video 2 weeks prior and say, look, I got my, this, all that. Look, you could have a doctor come with you, but you cannot enter into the resort if you don't have proof of a negative test within the last 48 hours or 2 days prior to the event. So that's another thing that is what people are really concerned about, because they're saying, look, I could have dropped, let's just say I dropped $5,000 on a package for myself and my friend dropped $5,000. That's $10,000 total for the packages, but 5,000 a person. If my friend could be negative and they get to go in, but if I test positive, I've spent 5,000 on the package. I may have had a flight for $1,000 or $2,000, depending on how I flew, where I flew, right? All of that money, so that's 5,000. Let's just say 1,000 for the flight and 5,000 for the package. You're out $6,000 if you have a positive. Now you test, so you can do the test 2 days prior to leaving, so maybe you can reschedule get credits for the flight, but still you have $5,000 that you paid this, and now you can't go. They're not going to let you in. So it is a huge gamble for either weekend of Dead and Company and any Dave and Tim show. And again, the big thing I want to stress is the Dead and Company community is much older, so their mindset on this is different. And the reason that this is happening is because of the pushback from actual fans. If the fans were not pushing back, this would not have happened. Because look at Dave and Tim, they're not saying anything, but there's not a push like this from Dave and Tim fans. Now, Deadheads, it's a larger community than Dave Matthews Band fans, but Dave Matthews Band fans are also in a different age bracket, and this isn't as big of a thing for them because most of them are not 68, right? You would be on the older side of things if you were 68 going to Dave Matthews Band shows, right? Most people are in their 40s. Some are in their 50s, as they were going to these shows in the 90s and 2000s during the band's glory years. Now, here is where I want to get to Dave Matthews and Tim Reynolds. And I'm in much more forms for Dave and Tim, right? And the biggest thing that people are concerned about for Dave and Tim, they don't want a refund, right? People who have decided to go to this have committed to going to these shows for the most part. Yes, you could probably find people that aren't, that went out, but most people are committed from the Dave Matthews Band community to go to these shows as long as they're played, even with Omicron or Micron, however you pronounce it, even with that being a thing. The biggest concern is the testing, right? I've seen a lot of Dave and Tim fans, even before this recent uptick in testing over Christmas week, they were buying at home tests. They were looking for facilities that could give a rapid test right before they leave for Dave and Tim in Mexico. So I've been seeing that a lot, that the biggest concern is not COVID. I mean, not necessarily the risk of going to the shows. The biggest concern is the fact that they want to make sure they're negative. Now, the other thing to keep in mind, the January shows are for Dead and Company. The February shows are for Dave Matthews and Tim Reynolds, and they're February 18th, 19th, and 20th. So when Dave and Tim are going to, potentially take the stage, Omicron, or the concerns, the test, the positivity rates could be much different, right? There may be even other things in the market to reduce, other factors in the market that could help bring down numbers. So that's the advantage that Dave and Tim have, is that they have time on their side. Dead and Company, it's less than a month away. Dave and Tim, it's still about a month and a half plus away. And being that it's going to be February 18th, 19th, and 20th. So you gotta, that's a big difference there. Is that, oh, Amy says she's 67. You're as old as you feel. That's correct. No, it's so true. There are people that are in their 20s that the toll on their bodies and the stuff, their organs, all that stuff, they're in their 20s, they mess it up in their teens, and they're much worse. There's people that are in their 60s that I go on road races. I do road races, and there's people in their 60s running faster than me at age 31 for half marathons and marathons. You're as old as you feel and as old as your body is. But there definitely is more of the statistics. There's definitely more of a concern. My parents are in their 60s, of people their age getting COVID and dying, or getting, there's more hospitalizations than my age 31, and people. So you went to the Gorge 2019. So did I. I went to the Gorge in 2019 and in 2021. But yeah, the biggest thing is the people that I'm seeing in the forums, they got the booster shots, right? They got their vaccinations. They're worried about testing positive, and they're literally going to isolate themselves as much as possible leading up to the event. That's the biggest thing, is that they're worried about the test. People have gotten, like I said, proactive getting the test. Um, and with it only being one weekend, I think you could still try to sell your package potentially. You would need someone that has the cash on deck, but you could try to sell it at the same price or less. So that's the biggest thing. And Amy says she's scared, and that's, it. I can understand why people are scared or concerned. These are uncertain times. I wonder how much this will impact Dave and Tim as far as the potential for a refund. I think Dave Matthews, he has shown he's gonna play no matter what. Unless there's like factors locally, or factors locally in Mexico or in the United States where something's shut down, where they're not letting people travel to Mexico. Dave's gonna do this, right? Dave is going to do this. And I really don't see the DMB community having as much of an outrage. People kind of knew. People knew the risk that when these tickets went on sale, COVID was still a thing. It wasn't going away. There were still people testing positive. Hospitals were still being filled up. And they knew, and people either made decisions to not go or to go. And I saw that even during the touring year. People decided, hey, I want to be home for the holidays. I don't want to put people at risk. I'm skipping Madison Square Garden. I'm skipping Mohegan. And I know people that locally in my area that are either didn't go on tour all year or skipped out on the fall tour, from coworkers to friends, longtime friends to new friends I've met over the last couple of years that didn't go to shows. And I respect that. I understand everyone's going to attack this differently. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with Dave and Tim. But this variant is a scary thing, because I'm seeing more and more people who are openly willing to share that they're COVID positive, or share, across my board of family, friends, coworkers, that this thing is ticking up. Like there's so many more over the holidays. There's been so many more people saying, "Hey, I'm at home in isolation. I got it. My son's got it. My girlfriend's got it. My husband's got it." Right. So this thing, it's not that it's people are all in the hospital, but it's the fact that you are sidelined. If you're positive, you're supposed to isolate, and people are mostly isolating. I haven't really heard any people going rogue, but people who are testing positive, they're adhering to the guidelines and staying at home. So that's the biggest thing right now, and it's a possibility it may impact Dave and Tim. So we shall see. We will see what happens. But definitely leave your comments below if you're watching the replay, and let me know what you think. If you're going to Dave and Tim in Mexico, if you're going to playing in the sand, let me know what you think. Um, and in the sports world and in the concert world, there's a lot of question marks about January, February 2021 as well. I have some tickets to stuff, sporting event and concert related, in January and in February. I have decided for the holiday season that really ends January 1st, but at least till January 1st, I decided I'm not going to anything else publicly. And I made this decision a couple of weeks ago, late November, that hey, I mean, I go to stuff every weekend. UConn, if there's a UConn game or there's a pro sports game I want to see, I typically go. If there's a concert, I'm going to one of those three things in person. Pre-pandemic and even during the pandemic, I've been going to stuff, taking the precautions I see fit. I'm not going to go to Dave and Tim in Mexico. I just, first of all, this is just my philosophy, and everyone has the right to disagree, especially if you make more money than me, right? But my philosophy is right now, I am 31 years old, and I think the pitfall that people my age fall into is they almost want to congratulate themselves for they want to congratulate themselves for making it through their 20s or showing a year or two of hard work. I don't agree with that philosophy, even as I go to 10 Dave Matthews Band shows this year. I believe in retirement savings first, investments. I believe in rainy day funds, right? So for the Dave Matthews shows this year, I think 75% of those shows I already had tickets to. And then the other 25%, I bought them, some of them below face value. Actually, I don't know. Actually, I didn't pay over face value at all this year. It was so easy to get tickets. But anyway, my point is, or no, maybe I did. Did I pay over? No, I didn't, because I bought them all on Ticketmaster or on StubHub below face. But anyway, at my age, at age 31, for me to spend $5,000 on a vacation is not justified at my current how much I make. Now, if I was making $150,000 right now or $200,000, maybe I would spend $5,000. But personally, right now, I don't believe that's a wise decision. Just like even like to me, I don't believe in getting a luxury car. I'm 31 years old. I need to save for retirement. Any extra money I'm getting, even before I consider a vacation, I'm putting money away for the future. And I really think that may be another video that we could talk about. But I don't think people on there's actually, no, here's the thing. There's people my age who get it and they're working hard and they're stacking their bread. But I think there's a percentage of people in my generation that are ignoring debt, right? They're ignoring debt way too much. Listen, no one's going to erase your student loan debt. Not to get political. It's not happening, right? Oh, I'm going to wait for this, or oh, I'm going to default, or whatever. Like, no one, if you're 31, you shouldn't have a car payment that's $400, right? You shouldn't. Either buy the car cash or make it so your payment, it should be under $300 a month, right? That's just my philosophy, and that's the philosophy my grandfathers had, both of my grandfathers, my grandmothers, my parents. save for a rainy day. And that, again, that may be a stream. Maybe we talk about that. I'm no financial wizard, but I've consulted with others, right? I've taken advice from my elders, and I'm telling you, like, anyway, I know that's a little rant, but it's been something on my mind because I really feel like there's a lot of people that are being financially reckless. And yes, life is short. Buy the tickets. But a $5,000 trip to David Tim in Mexico, if you don't like, if you have like, if you have like $30,000 in the bank, okay, maybe you consider that. But if you don't, if your debts aren't paid, if you have student loan debt, it's not worth buying the tickets to David. Because what if you live, right? What if you live, right? I still go to some, I go to tons of concerts, like I said. But before I even consider a concert, I have budgeted stuff for the futures. Anyway, that's a whole different thing. I'm telling you guys, especially people in my age bracket, it's not looking good, right? Unless you are ready and are taking the steps to be ready for a rainy day. Or if you make a lot of money, if you make 150, $200,000 or more, you can go, like, by all means, go. But I think there's a problem where the mindset, and we've been spoiled. I'm a 90s kid, the 2000 kids, and some of these 2010 kids and on are even more spoiled. But we got to be realistic about our debt. We can have fun, right? We can go on trips, but the trip may be I'm driving to SPAC and I'm going to Hartford. It's not, oh, I'm gonna go to Gorge, I'm gonna go to Vegas for EDC, I'm gonna go to this thing, I'm gonna go to vacation every month. No, we have to be wiser. Anyway, so that's my little spiel. uh, but about Dead and Company and Dave Matthews and Tim Reynolds. But we'll see what happens from there. The next thing that I wanted to get into is an update on getting into Fish. And I've tried this a couple of times, just like the Grateful Dead. The first time I started to try to get in the Grateful Dead, it didn't work. It just didn't. It didn't. I was not ready. And I was still listening to all types of classic rock and prog rock. And I've always listened to hip hop and R&B. I could not get the Grateful Dead for years until about 2015, I would say. Right as the Fare Thee Well, was it 15? Yeah, was that 15? The Fare Thee Well tour, which was at the time I was working at StubHub, so I was actually dealing with different ticket errors that were going on with that event and people buying and selling and making sure we vetted people that were selling and making sure people who were buying understood, hey, this is how it works for the tickets. So I was in that part of my life. I actually was in the in that industry. But Fish, this year during the pandemic, I took a trip right after I got vaccinated, and then right after I was vaccinated, I went down to Virginia to visit more of Virginia, and then I took some precautions and visited certain family members who were vaccinated with masks and all that. But during that trip down to Virginia, it's about an 8-hour drive, I believe, from where I live down to Virginia Beach. I was listening to Fish Radio there and back, and it just clicked. And here's what I've noticed noticed so far. Um, I love the transitions that Fish has in songs. One of my favorite things about progressive rock is the transitions. I love how Fish is able to seamlessly transition back and forth, up and down, left and right, into various styles of music in the same song. Yes, that's what a jam band does. Yes, of course. But Fish does it to a level that I just haven't seen done and executed so well. And they've been doing this for a long time. So I really love how these transitions, even better than some of the bands that I like in this genre, like the String Cheese Incident, right? Like Humphreys McGee, right? I love how these transitions they're fun and they're amazing transitions. And Trey's lead guitar playing is just awesome. It reminds me of Michael Kang from String Cheese Incident. It's a very bright tone. It really rains throughout. It's dancing through the various jams. You hear Trey. I love his playing, and I've heard his playing with uh, Dave and Friends, and I've heard some of his other stuff over the years. His collaborations, his playing with the Grateful Dead for the Fare Thee Well. But I love some of his lead stuff. And the thing about Fish too is they still, and this is what I kind of don't like about DMB. I know Fish fans are critical and they'll say there's certain eras have good and bad, but from the early '90s stuff I've heard from there to the mid '90s to the 2000s, they have a balance of sound, meaning you can hear the piano when appropriate, you can hear the bass when appropriate, you can hear the electric guitar stand out when appropriate, right? Everything that's supposed to be highlighted is highlighted, and everyone plays or rallies around whoever has the solo, whoever has the special part, whoever's driving that song or driving that rhythm or driving that groove. And again, I'm a new member, and I'm sure someone who watches Dave Matthews Band live for the first time isn't going to be as critical as I am of that band. But I'll tell you this, man, Fish is all like the way they all work as a team. And granted, they've also had the same lineup, right? Leroy Moore has passed, right? Butch has left. Tim came on and guested in the 90s, but then was officially around to try to replace some of the void that Leroy had. Boyd was with the band. Now he's not. He had his good years, he had his bad years. But Fish is solid. Every era of the band I've heard is solid and balanced, and they work off of each other. It's a true jam. When you hear these things, you hear what you need to hear. There's tons of space. So here's what I'll do. So I'm gonna look at some of the songs. So one of the things I have been listening to with Fish is I Am Hydrogen, the Weekapaw Groove. And this is an awesome flow. I love how it starts off slow with I Am Hydrogen. Whenever they don't always do this, but when they do it, like it's awesome. And then they get into that groove and they're just it's pretty dope, right? I love that flow of that song. And just very very solid transition between those two things, and it's kind of one of the first transitions I noticed from the band after listening to this, because other bands they have like what Dead and Company, the Grateful Dead, Help, Slip, Frank, right, or DMB. Obviously there's tons of different things, PNP and the Rapunzel, right, Proudest Monkey and the Satellite. It was kind of the first thing I noticed that they kind of do back to back, and sometimes they'll have a Mike song in there before I Am Hydrogen, or they'll have it in the same set. They kind of pair these songs, a Mike song, I Am Hydrogen, and Weekapaw Groove. You'll see that as well. The next song is Reba, and I love Alpine 2010 Reba is just awesome. And again, the transitions are great, but Trey goes off. Trey Anastasio goes full steam off on this solo from Alpine Valley. And I was just like, wow. When I first heard this, I was like, yo, this is incredibly dope. What he is doing and how this thing is driving, and the flow of the solo and jam at the end is awesome. But I love, and that actual show is one of the shows I've listened to front to back. What I've been doing is I've just been pulling various versions of some of these songs that you're going to see me just give some reaction on, and just kept go for walks every day. And I listen to another version of Reba, or another version of Harry Hood, or another version of 555, although that's not on here as far as one of the things I'm reviewing. The next one is Harry Hood. And I love the intro, should be a song. Like I love this, like oh yeah, here it is. It's that D minor, I love this intro. And then it goes to the. This could be a whole song. And that's just the first part. Like, I love this song, Harry Hood. Like, it's real dope. It's got that reggae vibe, and then it gets into like the true jam band flow after that. I'm actually trying to learn some of this stuff on guitar. Still a work in progress, but I love this song. And just another cool thing. One I didn't put on here, I just started getting into it, is Divided Sky. It is an experience. I was just listening to that today. I'd heard it a couple of weeks ago as well. Divided Sky is something that is starting to, and I know it's a fan favorite, or I guess it's one of those things that the fans talk about. But Divided Sky is dope. Farmhouse. I love the backing vocals. I've heard a couple of versions of this song, and one that's kind of on YouTube is the Farm Aid one, which that's more of a main, they're not doing their full show, but the Farm Aid from 1998, that Farmhouse. But I love the backing vocals in this. It reminds me of Humphreys McGee. What I love about Humphreys is they have some beautiful melodies, and the backing vocals behind the lead singer. There, shout out to Humphreys McGee, and wishing them well. They had to cancel their New Year's run, just like Fish. But shout out to Brendan, Jake, the rest of the boys from Humphreys, Chris, right, Ryan. We're sending our love to you guys. I know you had to cancel the Miami New Year's Eve run, but I love how Farmhouse has just an awesome like vocal type of thing. What's up, Luke? I see you came on. Thank you for checking in, and don't forget, guys, if you're watching this on replay, if you're watching this live, hit the like button. It helps me to get more exposure. Leave a comment, subscribe, tell your friends to subscribe so they can get these updates. But Farmhouse is awesome. I love the backing vocals of it. I love the song. It's more of a laid back type of jam, but it's awesome. I like where Trey takes you with his lead stuff in Farmhouse. And then we have Tweezer. Obviously, this is one of their most popular songs here, but Tweezer is just pure awesome in a song. It's probably one of the first Fish songs I had heard of even before this year. But it's just an awesome song. It's just so much greatness going on. You turn on any Tweezer in the first like 3 to 4 minutes, and you're just going to get overwhelmed by the awesomeness of this band, from the basses to the keys to the lead guitar and the drums. So Tweezer is just pure awesome in a song. That's what I have so far. Because the New Year's Eve run of Fish got moved, I'm looking to go in April to the Fish shows in April. We'll see where we're at. We'll see what the prices are at. I may buy in advance. We'll see what happens there. And but that's my little Fish segment. I'm loving the live stuff. I'm not even listening to the studio stuff, just listening to the live stuff, and just enjoying, or just popping in my Apple Music. Shout out to them, listening to it in the lossless quality with my headphones, spatial audio feature, Dolby Atmos features with my headphones that pair with that. That's awesome. And Luke says, so what is Dave and Tim going to be doing for Mexico? So just to kind of go back to that, nothing has been said so far outside of the fact that a couple of days before you get to Mexico for Dave and Tim and Dead and Company, you have to have a negative test. So you have to get a result within a 2-day period prior to the start of the shows, the show day and night one. You have to show that in the last 2 days you've had a negative test. That's the biggest hurdle for anyone trying to go, because with this new variant, if this thing keeps around until February, this new variant, like, you literally are just seeing it spread like wildfire, even compared to some of the other variants. Doesn't matter if you're vaccinated, doesn't matter. That's what we know so far, Luke, is that you have to have, and that was kind of announced from the, to the ticket holders or purchasers of the packages for Dave and Tim in Mexico and Dead and Company. Dead and Company is going to be in January. Same resort, Same stage as Dave and Tim will be playing in February, late February, mid to late February. That's what we know so far. Now, what we've also talked about, Luke, and you can go back, but I want to give you a recap. We also talked about Dead and Company uh, allowing for fans to get refunds, meaning if you don't feel safe, if you do not feel like, hey, I don't want to take the risk, right? I don't want to take the risk. I don't want the stress. I just want my money back. And these are 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 dollar packages. And just looking at playing in the sand, just to show you. So just to kind of show you guys these packages, this Sunrise Resort or Sunrise location packages starting at 2,000 to 6,500, 2,100 to 6,500. The golf course, 23 to 5,300. We go over to the Moon Palace, right? 2,800 to 7,000, 7,000 a person. These all sold out. Um, and this is Nizuka, or whatever, how you pronounce that, 2,200 to 9,000 per person. $9,000. Now it's all inclusive, food, drinks, all that's there, but that's a $9,000. And then it shows you where everything is, right? The Grand Sunrise, the venue is at Sunrise, and that's where you walk along these areas, right? But the this is where the venue is right at the end, and it's its own resort. The other thing that kind of was more of a story a couple like last month, there's been on these resorts, these all inclusive resorts. There's been some shootings of Mexican cartels have been going after people at these resorts. Now we're this is the thing. Allegedly, there's been people of importance in the cartel that also go to these things, people of wealth within the drug game, allegedly, that go into some of these resorts because they have the money, and opposition or other people are trying to instill fear in these other people that they don't like or they have issues with. So now I don't think that's going to be the bigger issue right now, because there's been a couple of instances in the last couple of months, but none at one of these resorts, right? And these resorts, that the packages here for where they have this event is even on a higher, like it's just a special area. They know there's going to be events, so they're going to have security, armed security. They're going to have things to protect people more than the average resort. And every resort has security here, but it's one of those things. Cancun is a nice area, but with nice areas, there always comes crime, right? The cartels are working in these areas to get drugs out, to get stuff out, to make money. That's just how the way it goes. Any warm weather resort town or beach town has a certain amount of crime that's just going to be there. It's all about being vigilant, being safe, staying at a certain areas past 1 p.m., 2 p.m. in the morning. And Luke says the variant is spreading so much it might not be here come February. Yeah, that's one of the things. If people are getting this variant and it is spreading, at some point it has to level out more versus a slower spread. Because the slower spread, more people would actually be out right now. More events would be going on. A lot of things have shut down. Actually, when I log off in a moment, I'm gonna be watching my Philadelphia Flyers. They're playing in Washington State, but they haven't played in about 2 weeks, right? Due to COVID and some other stuff. They haven't played in 2 weeks. So things have been shut down and it's still spreading. But if there was a variant that was less potent, there would be more things open. And for all we know, in February, you could see more people starting to pick up on it or get it. But right now, the fact that this variant is out, you have people that are going to Dave and Tim or Dead and Company that are making decisions to be more cautious, to literally lock down in their house. Maybe they go to the grocery store, maybe they get their groceries dropped off. Because these are people, if you're dropping $2,000 to $9,000 for these packages, you probably have money to get your groceries delivered. So they're not even going to risk going. And let's go, Dave and Tim, Mexico, just to show you some of the packages. Jeremiah. And again, this is the same type of stuff. Now, these packages are look a little better. And again, the biggest difference between this is, and it's only by a couple $100, right? It was 2,200, 2,100. This is 1,800. So that's not bad. I mean, a package for 1,800 isn't as bad as 3,000, 4,000. So, but again, these have all sold out. All the packages have sold out here, but the same thing, 1,800, 6,500. This is 1,800 to 9,000 per person. So, and I've heard great things about these shows. I've heard if you have the money, if you have the disposable income, to go. Oh, Amy, you love the Flyers? Yeah. Actually, let me show you. This is my just to show you guys. So, backstory. I have a wonderful girlfriend. For Christmas, I said, do not do anything crazy. Okay. It's our first Christmas together. Right. We're almost hitting a year. I said, don't buy anything outrageous. Okay. That's not who I am. You know, get me something. You can get me a gift. I'm gonna get you a gift for sure, but don't waste all your money on me. That's what I told her. And I was hoping she was gonna give me a PS5. No, I'm just playing. But she made me this awesome blanket. Now, here's the thing. I thought this thing was from like the NHL store. I thought she bought this, or from a craft person. She bought this thing. She actually found the fabric, which was only like available somewhere to ship from Pennsylvania because it's like Flyers country. She found the fabric and then she got it shipped to her and she made this blanket herself. Let me show you this. Let me show you guys here. This is awesome. And look at this. It's got she cut these off at the top. This blanket is huge. Like, I could show you just to show you guys. But look at that. Look at that blanket. Look at that blanket. She's awesome. So I'm going to try to stay up here in the East Coast and not fall asleep on the couch, but that blanket's not going to help. It's going to help me to fall asleep and watch the Flyers. They just started. Let's see. Flyers are 1-1, 7:14 left in the first. So let's go Flyers, man. That is my team since the Whalers left. I was at the last Whalers game. I've said this a couple of times. When I was 6.5 years old, the Flyers became my team around 2000. So from 97 to about 2001, 2002-ish, they became my team. Keith Primo got traded, and Keith Primo was a Whalers player that I loved. He was one of the top players on the teams. As they moved to Carolina, they traded Keith Primo for Rod Brind'Amour and I think some other pieces. And I loved the Flyers. They were jerks, but they won. And they were physical, but they actually had teams that contended. They weren't just a bunch of bad goons. They were goons, and Eric Lindros sometimes would go a little too far, but they were great teams that were physical and had heart and played with passion. And the city of Philadelphia, there's not a lot of hockey. Like Boston, north of me, there's tons of kids that come out of Boston and become NHL prospects. There's not a lot of prospects in South Jersey and Philly, but the fan base has adapted this sport that doesn't naturally go with the city. Like most people are not necessarily hockey aficionados. Most people aren't playing hockey in Philly, but every game they usually are in the top 10 in attendance for the and they really like you actually see when you see a Flyers game. Now COVID has changed some of that. Some of the rising prices have done that as well. But 5-10 years ago, the Flyers haven't won a cup since 76. But the Flyers sell out every game for the most part. There you will see some empty seats now, especially the last couple of years because prices have gone up. But you'll see a full crowd most nights, and that's impressive for a market that is not in the Northeast or in the upper Midwest like Minnesota, right? Where hockey is the lay of the land there. Hockey, like football and basketball and boxing, those are traditional sports that Philly loves, right? A lot of boxers come out of Philly, a lot of football, or actually basketball players, right? You had Temple and Villanova, but you have a lot of local talent. And football is not king there, but people love football, even though, like they love the Eagles. But anyway, I love the Flyers because I love the fans. I love their heart that the players typically have on those teams. And that's my team now because the Whalers left me. So I don't like the Hurricanes. They are the enemy. But that's all I got for now. I may hop on over the weekend. Over the weekend. Stay tuned. If you miss it, it'll be on replay. May hop on. There's some stuff I want to look at and maybe get out to you guys from just some cool facts about the band and some things I think about the band and the growth or the adaptation of the band over time as far as DMB. But thank you guys who tuned in. Definitely like, comment, subscribe. Again, tell a friend to tell a friend. As my boy John said, he made a good point. I am the most active person on YouTube that talks about Dave Matthews Band. Like there's no one else that's doing this. That's why I started doing this. And same thing, I cross over to Fish, to Dead and Companies, to Abbott Brothers, various. John Mayer is another person that I talk about a lot. So you'll see stuff on John Mayer on my end. Especially with this tour coming up. I have tickets to Albany, opening night of the Mayor Tour in February 2021. But thank you guys for being on. Definitely like, comment, subscribe. It's your boy Conserviz34. We are going to exit here with some music. Let's see if we can get this. Peace.
Walking down the garden path, I heard a pop and hurried in. When I saw you there, I dropped my bags. Little baby love, what have you done? Off the phone, the cops came in. They're tying up a few loose ends. Somebody drive me away. It's too late for talking now. So drive me away. I don't feel upside down. Somebody drive me away. I wish I could disappear. Drive me away. Oh, let me stay there. Remember how you used to play. Remember how you used to run. Baby, did you forget how to run away? I don't think I could even take a breath. Somebody drive me away. It's too late for talking. drive me away. How I feel inside out. Somebody drive me